Amidawa Hopa, thank you for joining us. I am Aaliyah Chavez. Oklahoma authorities Wednesday released the summary of an autopsy report for Nex Benedict, the non-binary 16-year-old who died a day after a fight in a high school bathroom, ruling that Benedict died by suicide. According to the state's medical examiner's office, Benedict, whose grandmother is an enrolled citizen of the Choctaw Nation, had toxic levels of 2 drugs in their system. Owasso Lieutenant Police Chief Nick Boatman telling media there were indications from the beginning of the investigation that their death was a result of suicide. In the days and weeks after, Benedict's story caught the attention of the nation.
This is a vigil for Nex Benedict, who tragically died after a bullying and fight situation in Owasso nearby. They were a non-binary, two-spirit Indigenous youth.
A complete autopsy will be released in the next 10 days in accordance with state law. A newly launched resource is hoping to increase real-time information of missing and murdered Indigenous people in New Mexico. The state's Department of Justice is out with its website that lists the current number of missing Indigenous people and breaks down the data by gender and age. According to Attorney General Raul Torres, the portal is critical to providing invaluable insights to policymakers regarding the MMIP crisis. A dedicated specialist is set to keep track of the data, and the portal also allows families to report a missing person. On the topic of resources, a pivotal tool supporting Native Americans is celebrating its 7th year in operation. Strong Hearts Native Helpline has assisted over 50,000 people by phone and through its website. Using culturally appropriate programming, the helpline gives mental health, domestic violence, and culture-based services. Strong Hearts advocates provide 24/7 support to all individuals and makes referrals to Native-centered service providers. To find out more about these services, we have all of the information at ictnews.org. In Minnesota, high school students are building a smudging space on campus. Native students at Shaka High School are constructing an outdoor space to smudge and cleanse with smoke. The Indigenous students who are part of the project say it is important, allowing them the ability to practice their cultures at places other than home. Shakopee Public Schools has approximately 231 Native students within the district. According to teachers, creating the space helps to honor Native students and their education. Organizers hope to have the outdoor smudging space up and running sometime in May. Staying in Minnesota, where a bill in the legislature would return to a local tribe a portion of a lake long considered stolen. If it passes, the Red Lake Nation would regain full stewardship of its namesake body of water. Stuart Huntington has more.
Since the late 19th century, Red Lake leaders have maintained they were swindled out of part of their lake by government negotiators who swapped out an agreed-upon map for a fraudulent one. They've never given up their claim to the northern reaches of the lake they hold sacred. Today, they have some Minnesota lawmakers in their camp, something welcomed by Tribal Council Secretary Samuel Strong.
It's important for us to reclaim our lake for many reasons. The most important one being that we have to reclaim those that are lost. We have to reclaim our land, our people, and this is part of that process.
The bill would transfer to the tribe all lakeshore property owned by the state, as well as forest land in the Red Lake State Forest. Activist McGizzy Spears has asserted tribal sovereignty over Red Lake for years, annually violating very publicly state fishing regulations. He's happy with the move in the legislature.
It would be great. It would be a great historical thing, a thing that we would feel that we would have our nation, our Red Lake Nation, like we have in our flag. Our flag has our lake fully intact, so that we would feel whole and like we'd be returned again. So it would be a tremendous historical moment for us in Red Lake.
Stuart Huntington, ICT News.
Well, your favorite social media app could be disappearing. On Wednesday, the House voted in favor of passing legislation that could ban TikTok in the U.S. Both Republicans and Democrats believe the video sharing app is a national security threat due to its ownership and access to American data. TikTok is owned by a China-based company, ByteDance, and is aggressively lobbying against this legislation, arguing that it violates the First Amendment and that small businesses rely on the app. The bill still needs to go through the Senate, but President Joe Biden said if the bill reaches his desk, he will sign it into law.